Before we begin, you should know that this is essentially part 2 of last week's episode on how a realtor will price your home. So you may want to consider watching that episode first and then come back and watch this episode. I'm going to leave a link to the episode in the description down below. So now with that out of the way, welcome back to another brand new episode of Michael's Corner, where we help to educate and empower you with the hints, tips, tricks, and insights into the real estate world. Today we're going to be talking about an absolute beauty of a topic. Today we're going to look at some of the different pricing strategies that can be the difference between your home selling or not. So click that thumbs up button and let's get to it. Now, first and foremost, let's quickly cover why is this so important. Well, for those of you that didn't know, in Calgary right now, the average seller has about a coin flip, or roughly 50% of a chance to actually sell their home. And for those fellow number geeks out there, at time of shooting, we've seen about 30,000 new listings so far in 2019, with only about 15,000 of them actually have been sold. Not exactly great odds. So, back to pricing strategies. Let's start with the 3 basic choices. Now, there are countless ways to adjust the details on each of these approaches for maximum effect. However, we're going to focus on the 3 general strategies of pricing your home. When we go to list your home, we can choose to price it at, above, or below market value. And there's pros and cons to each option. So let's start with above market pricing. Say we push the envelope on price and list your home above market value. What will happen? Well, the pros are that you may just find the perfect buyer and set a new value for your home and the neighborhood. Unfortunately, that's not a likely scenario, especially in our current market. What's more likely of a scenario is that it would fall into the cons category. And that, more often than not, this strategy will have you heading towards too much time on the market and or an expired listing. And remember, there is a direct correlation between time spent online and final selling price, assuming you did in fact sell. So sitting on the market can often lead to a lower sales price than had you gone with other strategies. To sell your home, you need to attract the attention not only buyers, but agents who represent those buyers. And sometimes when a home is overpriced, an agent won't even mention it to their client. They'll simply tell them that they know it's overpriced and not to waste anyone's time showing it. And in today's market, where everyone begins their home search online, the first thing they do is set the price range. So there's the chance that your overpriced home will be missed by a good potential buyer. Now, my job as a top realtor is to be open and honest with you, keeping the end goal in mind and selling your home in a fast and timely manner. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes. If you were a buyer and came across a home that was overpriced, naturally you'd think to yourself, why? And then you'd wonder if it was worth you or your agent's time to find out that answer to that question. Chances are, not many will try to find out and simply move on. Don't make it more difficult for buyers to find your home. Oh, and one last note here. Let's say you do find a buyer for your home that's priced above market value. In order for them to obtain a mortgage, the home will most likely need an appraisal, and appraisers often look at the comparable homes in the neighborhood to determine value. And if an appraiser does not feel the home is worth what the buyer is offered, not only can this cause financial problems, this can cause sale problems that will most likely end up in the deal falling through. This strategy is typically reserved for someone that is looking for the needle in the haystack, someone who doesn't mind their home sitting on the market for a very long time, potentially years, just waiting for that right buyer that's going to absolutely fall in love with every single aspect of it and pay above market value for it. Now, how about pricing it at market price? Well, just like there are pros and cons for pricing your home above market value, there's pros and cons for pricing it at fair market value. Certainly, you want to get the most money for your home as possible. So it can be appealing to try and price it above market value, but just like we've covered, it's not always the best idea. Pricing it at fair market value gives you an advantage in the following areas. Number 1, exposure online. With buyers today starting their home searches online, the first bit of criteria they typically enter is price. Every buyer is looking to get the most for their money, but there's a range in which they're looking. By pricing at market value, you increase your chances of showing up right in front of a buyer who can feasibly afford your home, and this is obviously a good thing. Advantage number 2, appealing to other agents. When other agents who represent buyers see your home listed at fair market value, you'll be more motivated to bring your buyers to look at it and wonder if it meets their criteria. It won't leave them wondering why the home was over or underpriced. Number 3, easy appraisal pricing. Your home at fair market value makes the appraisal process go smoother and doesn't hold up the buyer getting their mortgage. Being realistic with the value of your home can lend to a smoother transaction all around. Now, what about the cons? Well, the downside of pricing your home at fair market value depends on how you look at it. Certainly, there is a chance you could potentially be leaving money on the table, but that's what negotiating the transaction is all about. There's also the fact that it might not get someone excited to see it right away. At market value, it tends to create a very reasonable reaction, but rarely creates that excitement. And excitement can often help get somebody off the fence and into a purchase agreement, often faster than they may have planned. And given that it's my job to help you get the most money for your home in the quickest amount of time, excitement can be very useful. This is also a perfect segue to discuss that there's still one more pricing strategy. Below market value. Pricing your home below fair market value does not necessarily mean that it will sell below fair market value. When you price your home lower, you can oftentimes create a frenzy among buyers and create competition, driving up the price. Have you ever watched an auction? It's kind of like that, where everyone wants to acquire the home for a bargain, but the demand and attention it gets from other buyers increases the resulting sale price. Now, this pricing strategy only works well in certain markets. Depending on the nature of your market, your real estate agent can help you determine if this is the right approach for you. Traditionally, this strategy works best in moderate to high inventory markets. In a market with low inventory, when most listings are getting multiple offers already, this approach probably isn't ideal. So if pricing your home below market value is right for you, here are a few pros and cons to understand first. Pros. Number 1, it creates a frenzy to attract more buyers and multiple offers. Number 2, quick sale typically. And number 3, the final sale is likely to be over asking price if it was done correctly. However, like anything in life, there are cons as well. And here are the cons. Number 1, buyers bidding on the lower number may not be qualified or capable of getting financing for the actual intended sale price. Number 2, not enough demand could result in a sale lower than market value. It is a risk if we can't get those multiple offers and get the people bidding against each other. And number 3, we might not attract the right kind of buyer. They may assume that something is dramatically wrong with the home and not worth their time. So it is a risk. So what are my final thoughts? Strategy matters, period. There are, of course, finer points to the approaches we covered today, but you'll want to dig into those with your realtor and make sure your home is positioned for success. My name is Michael Smith. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to always make sure to have somebody looking out for your best interest. Bye for now.